No matter if points are gained or points are lost, there will be much to discuss. For analysis regarding tonight's Winnipeg Jets game, here are Dave Manouk, Ezra Ginsburg, and your host, Drew Mandel. The Illegal Curve post-game show starts now.
Good evening, Manitoba. For all those joining us live this evening on our YouTube channel and all of our social media platforms, we say good evening, universe, and welcome to the Illegal Curve post-game show. With Dave Manouk, I'm your host, Drew Mandel, here to discuss the first place Winnipeg Jets won victory over the Dallas on home ice. This team sweeps the 3-game homestand in commanding fashion, Dave, and things are feeling good and looking good in the Winnipeg Jets dressing room tonight.
There's a lot of joy in Joyland, Drew, to paraphrase to quote Claude Noel, the Jets' first coach, when they returned to Winnipeg, which is appropriate given that our friend Mike McIntyre tweeted out that this was the best start in the history of the Jets 2.0, going 8-3-1. So there's a lot of joy in Joyland, as they say, and there's good reason for that. First of all, great job on the Filipino Heritage Night. That was really well done, and obviously a lot of people got a chance to enjoy that element of things in Winnipeg with such a sizable Filipino community.
Some technical difficulties.
Well, I'm not having any technical difficulties, Drew. I'm clear. I'm clear as a bell. I think it's whatever's going on at your house. You should have taken Ezzy's role and come to my house instead of staying at yours and not listening to me. And when I told you that whatever it is going on with yours is not well done. So that's okay. I'll roll with it because I of course was at the arena by myself in the illegal curve zone, I should say.
It might be on my end.
It is on your end. I told you that already. Why do you keep interrupting me? I'm on a soliloquy here. Come on, let's just chill. You get your stuff resolved, and I'll finish it off. That's not an issue. But no, I was just talking about how good the Filipino Heritage Night was. Best line of the night by far was with Tim Stapleton. I don't know if they showed it at the home broadcast, but he was asked during the intermission or during commercial timeout about what it was like to be able to enjoy it as a fan. He goes, well, I did spend a lot of nights in the press box watching games, so that one was really well received by the folks in Winnipeg. And there's always that nostalgia element for guys like Tim Stapleton and that sort of thing. So he was there. Grant Clifton was in the house. Most importantly, and I tweeted this out, Dennis Bayak was in the house. That was the excitement for me, that looking over in the press box and seeing Dennis there. So he came over and said hello. That was kind of nice. So there's a lot of excitement, and you could feel it. I mean, come on, guys. It's a Tuesday night. I think it's Tuesday. Is it Tuesday? It's a Tuesday night in Winnipeg, and yet the atmosphere was phenomenal, just phenomenal. And I think that's one of those things. Yeah, it is Tuesday, right? That's what I thought. So you had a lot of atmosphere in the building, a lot of excitement in the building, and quite honestly, Drew, I think the reality is that maybe the players fed off that energy. We haven't heard the post-game availabilities yet, but you could feel it. You could, and maybe it was Gary Bettman in the house. I don't know what was going on, but regardless of what the reason for it was, there was a lot of excitement for what was happening today in Winnipeg.
Yeah, as start to do, of course, to get kind of nights, these specialty nights where they're really honoring the different aspects of Winnipeg that make it city of ours, are going to begin to receive their nights for them as well. I'm clearly having some technical issues. You could say they can even hear me at this exact moment.
I think, Drew, you got to go. I think you got to reset your computer. Try logging in with your phone. I'll hold down shop. I won't. Okay, Drew, stop trying to talk, because right now you're not. Right now you sound like a guitar.
Talking, but fingers crossed. That was a great line from Tim Stapleton at Bayak.
Drew, you got to just admit defeat sometimes. This is not a good look. All right, folks. Now we're talking. This is the Dave Manouk Show. This is what we've been waiting for. It could be about the Manitoba Moose because, of course, the Moose did play. They set things up. They played a couple of games against Texas this weekend. So this could be we could talk Moose. We could talk the Winnipeg Ice because last I checked, they were up 3-0 when they were playing. So this could be the Dave Manuke show. I mean, I could invite Drew back in, but I'm kind of inclined not to, simply because why should I? I'm having a great time with all of you, 230 of you right now, to talk about probably what I thought was one of the, thank you, AJ. That is the Dave Manuke experience. So, no, I'm going to go John Chan's. It is, I've hijacked the show. Maybe I might not even let Drew back in because when he tries to re-enter, he's not going to be able to be back in. So it's going to be all me, folks. I'm picking winners of the contest, everything. Tough Duck, the Leo Curve contest for the merch. This is the Dave Manuke Power Hours. T. Will said. We've got the Darwin. He's into it also. But I have to say, and I'm sure, I want to hear what everybody's talking about in the chat, but quite honestly, that was without question the best game the Jets have played, obviously, for looking how Dallas came in, looking what Dallas did, out west and against the Oilers, and they were coming in feeling good about themselves. But the reality is that the Jets just from the outset, I mean, that was, and it's funny because people oftentimes say that, a 0-0 game is not an interesting game, but that first period was without question one of the most interesting first periods that I can remember watching. And I said to the guys in the press box I was sitting beside that it was, the most impressive one of the season. But they said, and not incorrectly, I don't think, that it might have been the most impressive first period of, Drew's back. But he didn't listen to me. He didn't go to his phone. Drew, people were loving me doing this solo. So you better have your stuff together, because if your technology isn't working still, I mean, this is not going to be a good end. In fact, I might have to get Ezzy to come off of the IR and see if he can join me. So I'm going to give you one more chance, and if this doesn't work, you're going to have to come back in like a regular guest on your phone. So let's see. I'm going to give you a shot here. If not, you're going to your phone.
Well, the ironic thing about this is that I'm the only one of the three of us that has a dedicated Ethernet line going to their computer. So these kind of issues don't happen to me. And I sort of mock the two of you and say, dummies, why don't you get a dedicated Ethernet line? And the expression goes, and hopefully the technology will hold up and allow me to articulate myself in my usual verbose fashion about the Winnipeg Jets 5-1 victory over the Dallas Stars tonight. But I'm not entirely confident that it's going to over the next so minutes because technology sometimes rears its ugly head like that. But fingers crossed, and then I can break everything that I need to have anger afterwards, right, Dave? Sort of what the Dallas Stars are probably dressing room in a little bit of a fit of anger over their performance tonight as the Winnipeg Jets in second period, after having a very solid first period, I might add, with that 10-8 margin in shots on goal. This was a complete victory by the Winnipeg Jets, and we've talked about it, that this doesn't look like the same old Winnipeg Jets team, from the last couple of years. This has been, I think, the most complete homestand, of the that comes to mind over the last couple of years, where the performance has been, in some regards dominant. And, look, I am often accused of being a cynic. I'm often accused of being a skeptic. I'm often accused of being Mr. Negativity, and I get that. And I like to think I'm more honest than negative, but whatever, we're splitting hairs here. Look, this Winnipeg Jets team is outperforming my expectations for them. And they're outperforming them by a sizable margin. Right now, this Winnipeg Jets team looks like a very good hockey team. And they're performing and they're clicking on all cylinders. And yeah, there's going to be people who say their expected goals are or they're outperforming their expected goals. And I get all that, and I have time for those arguments. I certainly do. But the results don't feel like they're paper mache. Last year at the start, you sort of expected or were waiting for the other shoe to drop, or once they got into that tailspin, it felt like they had no way of pulling themselves out of it. And then we know what happened last year. This year, I mean, they're obviously going to lose some games. I don't think I'm breaking any breaking news when I say that. This isn't a CNN breaking news update when I say the Jets are going to lose some games at some point in time. But they don't seem like they're going to go into a tailspin. They do seem to have better connectivity. And that's not a reference to my internet connection, but they seem to have a better connectivity up and down the lineup, in the dressing room and behind the bench, in all facets of the team and the organization right now. I think they're feeling good about themselves, justifiably so, because, the record is impressive. And it was an impressive performance tonight by the Winnipeg Jets on home ice, Dave, against the Dallas Stars team that is no slouch. This Dallas Stars team came to the second team, or the top team in the central top teams, and the Jets, frankly, just majority of this game. Obviously, Dallas opened the score. By most metrics, the Jets were a damn good team.
Drew, I think you're going to have to show that brevity is the soul of wit right now, because you're going to have to keep it tight. You're going to have to keep it tight right now, because you're a little bit of your long-winded, people are losing it. As Barry said, it's me and Max Hedren. And for those who remember, the 80s sitcom, I mean, you're right now you're losing it a little bit. So see, Blake saying you're freezing. People are talking about you freezing, but you know what, Drew? It's okay. It's okay. I got you covered, because I was there in the building. I watched that game, and I think your point is a true one. I think the fact is, remember, we talked about the Jets coming back from that road trip, and everybody's like, well, you beat St. Louis handily the Monday before you went, and then you went on the road. You picked up a lot of points. You didn't play well, but you still got 5 out of 6 points. Well, now you've come home and you picked up 6 of 6 points, and now you're feeling really good about your game. Now you're feeling, again, you could say, well, Montreal and Chicago came in only 1 point back of Winnipeg on Saturday, although having watched that game live, I'm not sure how that's possible, but regardless, that's the reality. You look at the standings, that's what happened. Then you come in against a Dallas team that is feeling very good about themselves, and obviously they don't have Jake Ottinger in net. He's injured. He's slowly recovering, but still, you still have all of these guys. Jason Robertson was just NHL Player of the Week with a 4-goal, 4-assist performance for Dallas, so he's feeling really good. And of course, it's very nice tie-in. He's of Filipino heritage, and he got to be there to go up with Josh Morrissey for the dropping of the puck. So that was kind of a nice moment for him, of course, with his heritage, being honored here in Winnipeg. And again, the reality for the Jets was that you knew this was going to be a test, and we often talk about that, Drew. Is how are they going to come into how are they going to handle the game? How are they going to be able to handle this the challenge? Because you could say, well, we used to say, oh, they get up for these games, but they take these other teams lightly. Well, they couldn't afford to take Montreal lightly. They didn't, and they played a good game and they won. Same thing with Chicago, played a good game and they won. And then ultimately you look at what they did tonight. And as I said, when we were having our little situation with your technology, but the truth is that was one of the best first periods. The Dallas played okay too, but that was one of the best first periods that I can remember the Winnipeg Jets playing in a long, long time. So you watched what happened. And if you're a Jets fan, and again, 20 minutes of a hockey game doesn't make a season, but we are getting to the point now, Drew. Remember when we were saying, it seems like it wasn't that long ago, we were saying, well, this is just one game, or this is just a couple of games into the season. But now, you're 12 games in. And again, 12 games, you still have to get, I had said 15, 20 games of the schedule really kind of gives you an idea of how much this team has bought in. But right now, based on the way they played against Dallas, that's the high danger chances in the first period were completely, not surprisingly, but completely lopsided. Dylan DeMello, how many breakaways is he going to?
8-2.
Yeah. So, there you go. So you could see that the Jets were clearly, and give Wedgwood credit. He played a very good first period, but that second period at the same time, you watched the Jets, you watched how they came out to start that second. And actually it was funny because Dallas actually started off a little bit stronger than Winnipeg. Anyways, why don't we go into do you want to do do you feel confident, Drew? Can I trust you to do the Betway game recap? Because if I don't know that I can, but I'm gonna pull back and I'm going to let you try and do this.
Well, you should absolutely never trust me, but I'm going to try and stutter or stagger my way through the Betway game recap, which is of course brought to you by Betway, the one of the most trusted voices in sports betting, both in Canada and all around the world, and of course the official title sponsor of the Illegal Curve post-game show. Betway is the sports betting app that puts you, the customer, at the forefront with a large selection of betting options in sports, as well as strong promotions and fair odds. What are you waiting for? Head on over to Betway and bet your way. Must be 19 years or older to play. Please play responsibly. Hopefully some of you were able to hear that. I really have no idea at this point.
No, you're good.
Okay,
that was good.
Double
Well
thumbs
done.
up. That's good.
I'm going to give you some hand signals, Drew. I'm not going to try and interrupt you. I don't want to interrupt you too much because I don't want to jinx it. So I'm just going to give you some signals if you're good.
And he froze. That, Dave. Yes. So, anyways, let's get it. Man, I froze. There you go. It didn't last long, of course. No scoring in the first period, as we talked about, Dave. The Jets, obviously, with a pretty significant lead in the shots on goal in that first period, an 18-8 margin, a high-paced first period, a well-played first period. Scoreboard for either team, but they have to be feeling good about themselves, the way they came out, the way they started this game. As for that, it had been a bit of an issue in some previous games, particularly on the road trip where they had the slow. This was a much better start, very similar to what we saw against Chicago on Saturday and even Montreal last Tuesday night as well.
Yeah, and I think
last Thursday night against Montreal.
Yeah, and I think the key was it was everybody. I mean, everybody had a piece of that, right? Everyone was contributing, and so that was the element of the game, especially like I said in that first period, because that's what I mean. It's funny. Hockey is a funny sport because it can be a bit of a chess match, and you watch teams kind of like try and, or I should actually maybe I should change my thing. Maybe it's more of a boxing match as you're trying to like work your opponent a little bit, but you don't want to go in too hard because that Ty Dellandrea Brendan Dillon fight was. I honestly, I tweeted it. It was kind of joking, but I said, like, we came to a hockey game and a boxing match broke out because, first of all, that was an insanely good tilt. And it's funny, people like hate fighting and blah, blah, blah. But the fans went ballistic. I mean, they were into it. They were jazzed. That got everybody. I mean, it's funny because I said to Carter Brooks, who sat beside me, he's with Game On Magazine, and I said, like, it doesn't feel like a Tuesday night in Winnipeg. Like that it feels like a weekend, Saturday night, Friday night game. There's a lot of energy in the building, and that could be, of course, because of the Filipino Heritage Night, and that obviously got people really jazzed up. But it just felt like a lot of excitement, right? I mean, you could say Tuesday night, but you're battling for first place in the Central. And again, I understand it's only 12 games in, so we're not like I jokingly said in the morning papers, this isn't exactly a clash of titans, and you're going to declare anything as a result of game 12 of the season. But at the same time, you have to be like, there's a lot of excitement. People are into it, and you can feel it. And that fight between Brendan Dillon and Ty Dellandrea, it was an unbelievable tilt. And we were joking around saying you're going to be watching that on all the sports centers, and there's no question about it because, I mean, it didn't look so good for Brendan Dillon early on, and then he got the juices flowing and he started throwing some rights. And those were two big boys, and it was a good tilt nonetheless. And like I said. So between the fight and, again, all the grade A chances that the Winnipeg Jets had that Wedgwood managed to stymie, it was a very, very entertaining period, despite the fact that neither team scored a goal.
Yeah, exactly right. I believe it's the first fight that the Jets have had on home ice, certainly this year. I can't remember if they've had one on the road, but nothing immediately comes to mind. And, sometimes, there should be a little bit of a rivalry. There should be a little bit of a dislike between these two teams, Central Division rivals. They both know where they are in the standings, even though they would say it's too soon to look. They're not stupid. The players know exactly where they stand. They know where their opponents stand. So there should be a little bit more juice and a little bit more energy, to start a game like this, and this was. Let's get into the goal scoring. That starts off at the 3:06 mark of the second period. Jason Robertson gets his 9th of the year, assist to Rupe Hintz. And I mean, I don't think I'm telling tales out of school when I say that Jason Robertson is just a dynamic goal scorer at the NHL level. This is a bit of a comedy of errors. The Jets look to be in a good position. bad bounces. Neil Pionk gets his sort of tied up, and and the puck, Rupe Hintz does a good job there. Puck goes over to Jason Robertson, and you do not want to leave Jason Robertson all alone in front of your goalie with with a lot of room and a lot of time to shoot, because he's going to find where he needs to put it. And he made no mistake to give Dallas the early 1-0 lead in the second period, mind you.
Yeah, I mean, he's got 9 points. As I said, he had 4 goals, 4 assists. That's the reason why he was NHL Player of the Week, first star, I should say, of the week. And now he's got 5 goals in his last, I think, 4 or 5 games. So he's definitely feeling good. He missed most of training camp with his contract situation with Dallas, but clearly he's feeling resolved and he's feeling good about himself. Interestingly enough, I remember we talked about it in one of the other games where the Jets ended up, I don't remember which game it was. Maybe it was the Vegas game where the Jets could have tied it, but instead, they don't score, and then Vegas opens it up. And similarly, that happened here where Jason Robertson actually had a very good chance, shot the puck high, could have tied the game, I think, at 2-2, but he's just lethal. And you're right, that was just an unfortunate bounce on Pionk, I think it was, in front of the Jets net, and then the way the puck, the Jets had control. Like, it was a bit sloppy. The Jets had control, but Dallas had started off that period, like I said, to their credit, they started off pretty well. And then Jets had a little bit of control and hot potato the puck. Sure enough, ends up bouncing. And like you said, Drew, not only did it go to Robertson, but it actually perfectly deflected off of Pionk's foot right to Robertson. And sure enough, he fires it up and over Connor Hellebuck, who didn't really have much of a chance to open the scoring. So you're sitting there going, okay, everybody's so jazzed, right? That kind of, it didn't really deflate the building. I will say, the fans were still kind of, they were obviously disappointed because when the home team is playing so well and they don't get the, you don't want to get goalied, but they were still into it. The atmosphere was still pretty good, despite the fact that they found themselves down 1-0.
Well, yeah, and similar to what happened in against Montreal last week, the Jets responded very quickly. It was Mark Scheifele 21 seconds later, getting his 7th of the year assist to Mason Appleton and Kyle Connor, and the seas really just parted here. There was so much space for the Jets. You look back and you watch the replay of that, the amount of gaping ice in sort of the middle slot, and it's a beautiful pass by Appleton to Scheifele, who makes no mistake. I mean, Mark Scheifele in that situation with a wide open net is rarely going to miss, and he certainly didn't here. And to your point, Dave, just as quickly as there was a bit of maybe a slight sag in the crowd was right back into it, with the Jets tying it up at 1 goal apiece.
Yeah, I mean, just 21 seconds later, you don't even have a chance to. I mean, think about how deflating it is when you have to hear Jay Richardson on the PA announce the goal, and Jay's depressed. The crowd's kind of like, but then the goal isn't even done, and of course, the Jets score 21 seconds later. So that got the crowd going, and again, Mark Scheifele. We're getting a bigger body of evidence here now with Mark Scheifele's work. 12 games in. It's not just the goal scoring, of course. That is a huge impact, but the way he seems to be playing all over the ice is significant. And we've been talking about it, and this was the biggest question mark. Connor Hellebuck bouncing back was also somewhat of a question mark, but it wasn't as if he played atrociously. He just wasn't Connor Hellebuck last year. So the question for fans was, what did he get back to Hellebuckian levels? Well, he seems to be back, so that question has already been put to bed. But the other one, and I've said this on Saturday's show, the other biggest factor for this Winnipeg Jets club was, would Mark Scheifele return to form? And it wasn't just the goal scoring. Of course, that's significant. You needed that. That was going to be massively important. And not only was it going to be important to get it from Mark Scheifele, but it was to be able to have that 1-2, almost 3 punch if Adam Lowry scoring, but 1-2 with Scheifele and Dubois. But specific to that play, and one of the other things we got to give credit. Mason Appleton obviously heard some people saying he shouldn't be on the top line because he responds with his first ever 3-point night for as a pro. Sorry, in the NHL, I should say that. I'm pretty sure
he had some with the Moose.
He had some with the Moose. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and look now to make sure. But no, I'm just saying that to me, that line was clicking, and that line again, they stepped up their game. Everybody's talking about how good Dallas's top line was. Well, the more noticeable of the top lines. I mean, quite honestly, Tyler Seguin. Was he noticeable? Was Jamie Benn available? I mean, noticeable? Not really. Robertson was noticeable. And I'm not saying that the top line. I'm just listing off the guys, in Dallas, and they weren't the Jets. The Jets were noticeable. Dallas was not.
As Dan Robertson said on the broadcast, that Rick Bowness said before the game, the key is to take away space, take away the speed of guys like Rupe Hintz, and the Jets, I think, for the most part, did a very admirable job of doing that. To your point about sort of, which of the best players stepped up in tonight's game, and it was clear that the Jets' best players were more impressive than the Dallas Stars' best players. So it's 1-1 at this point, and then it's 50 seconds after the 1-1 goal, the Jets make it 2-1. Pierre-Luc Dubois, his 6th of the year from Cole Perfetti and Blake Wheeler. It's not pretty by any stretch of the imagination, but it's effective. And you're hard in on the puck, and you're making a goaltender have to make a play probably in a time frame that he's not as comfortable in making it in. It has to, and that's what you do when you take away time and space. And in this case, the Jets take away time and space. Wedgwood has a bit of a miscue behind, and then Perfetti and Wheeler are both there to almost force the miscue, and the puck ends up on Pierre-Luc Dubois' stick in front of the net, and he sort of has a nice little, I think it was a backhand almost chip shot. It looked like he got out the sand wedge and sort of just bonked it into the net, with Wedgwood scrambling to get back, and it's a 2-1 goal that's not pretty, but it's effective, and it's predicated on hard work and a hard forecheck. So it's something that Rick Bowness can say after the game, or when they do video review tomorrow or whenever they next do it, you can say, look, this is what happened. We were hard in on the forecheck. Good things happen when we go in hard, and you make the opponent have to make a play, because just as easily as they can make that play, sometimes they can't make it. And this is one of those instances where they can't make that play, and the Jets take a 2-1 lead at that point, Dave.
Well, I mean, the Jets did exactly what they needed to do, which was a hard forecheck, like you had just said, Drew. And it was Blake Wheeler behind the net pressuring Wedgwood. He forced him to cough up the puck, and Cole Perfetti's in deep too. And I jokingly tweeted saying Pierre-Luc Dubois almost looked embarrassed, because he had so much empty net to score at, and it was a nice little backhand by him, nice backhand curl to throw that into the empty net. But I mean, huge, right? I mean, the Jets are deflated for 2 seconds, but again, sometimes you see teams sag. Right now, we're not seeing that team that sags. They're not showing. They're showing a little more resiliency, and that's a good thing. And I think they know. They also know that, look, Dallas punched them in the mouth when they went to Dallas in Game 2 of the season, and the Jets were aware of that, and they also knew that this was Rick Bowness's first game against his former club. I think they were very well aware of that as well. So I think there's a lot of incentive over and above just the general incentive to be a competitive athlete and want to win the game, for this Jets club to perform. And so, you all of a sudden now a 1-0 game has quickly become a 2-1 game, and the crowd is, like I said, the crowd was already into it. Now they're really into it. Now the decibel levels are hitting real levels. It's not manufactured. It's not artificial. Again, like I said, it's a Tuesday night, but the crowd was into it, and that, I think, the players. And again, we don't know that because we do the show, so we don't have the ability to be in the room right now and hearing from that. But I can't imagine that they didn't draw on what the crowd was bringing in tonight's game.
The crowd is into it. The chat is into it as well. We say good evening to everybody. Welcome to the Illegal Curve post-game show alongside Dave Manuka. I'm your host, Drew Mandel, going through the Betway game recap of tonight's 5-1 Winnipeg Jets victory over the Dallas Stars. With the win, the Jets move into first place in the Central Division, technically tied in points with the Stars, but they do have a game in hand, so the Jets have the better points percentage, which puts them atop the Central Division standings, according to NHL.com. If you're new here, we say welcome. Smash the like button. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you're familiar with us, we say welcome back. And of course, stay tuned throughout this post-game show. The unique code word is still to come, where you will get the opportunity to enter that code word to win some great prizes from us here at Illegal Curve. Authentic Winnipeg Jets merchandise. All that still to come on this post-game show. The Jets are up 2-1 at this point in time. 3-1, not very much longer. A minute and 35 seconds later. How about that? 3 goals in less than 3 minutes. Bang, 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 says Dennis Bayak. Mark Scheifele, his 8th of the season, assist to Kyle Connor and Mason Appleton. And Dave, you've been banging this drum a lot about Kyle Connor being underrated for his playmaking skills. And boy, oh boy, were they on display with the wizardry he showed on this, the 3-1 goal for the Winnipeg Jets.
No, it's funny because everybody thinks this is a guy who can score 50 goals, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. He's got almost as many assists, as he does goals. And now because he had a 3-assist night, I mean, the beauty for Kyle Connor is he's even Steven, as I call him, and he's a lethal passer. I mean, he's got 180 goals, 174 assists. I think it's all in like 396 games. I mean, the guy, and I said this on Twitter. It's true. He is the steal of the 2015 draft. I mean, the guys the guys in the top, like in the McDavids, the Eichels, those guys make sense. But Kyle Connor, getting him, and of course, folks in Boston right now are reeling at the idea of having 3 straight picks at, what was it, 13, 14, and 15? Or no, 14, 15, 16, I think.
Yeah, they passed on Connor 3 times.
Yeah, 3 times that Boston had the chance to take him, and I mean, it is what it is. But I mean, he is just an unbelievable passer. And so, like, people are like, oh, he's only got 2 goals and he's got 8 assists. Guys, if Kyle Connor ends up with 50 assists and Mark Scheifele ends up with 50 goals, he's on pace for like 53, 54 goals this season. You're not complaining. You're not. It's going to be okay. Kyle Connor will be okay if he ends up with a lot more assists than goals. Although his chance of getting the Lady Byng might not be so good anymore. After taking his first penalty of the season, and it was the first penalty of the game. I mean, Kyle Connor's chances of winning the Lady Byng might have gone down. But regardless, he just is a phenomenal facilitator, and you can see it. And it's funny because our photographer Colby Spence, who's one of the best in the business. Check out our his photos on our Illegal Curve Instagram. Yeah. But it's funny because after the goal, and first of all, just a beautiful goal, right? Like Mark Scheifele is just again, Mark Scheifele
sort of back away, almost like sneaking back quietly from the defensive coverage, and because everyone's watching Connor do his dipsy doodling, and Scheifele just goes to that soft spot on the ice where he gets just enough space and just enough time, and Kyle Connor somehow feathers the pass through. It was just absolutely incredible.
Well, yeah, but what I was going to say is that Colby captured the photo, and you could see Kyle Connor coming around, and he has just this kind of smirk on his face because he's just. I mean, again, like I said, these guys, everyone thinks that all they want to do is score. And don't get me wrong, they're goal scorer, especially a goal scorer. They want to score, but when you can feather a pass like that and set up your guy and make it 3-1, you're feeling good because again, this isn't an individual game. It's all this is hockey. Last I checked was a team sport. So for Kyle Connor to be, maybe not scoring himself, but helping his teammates, I mean, that's going to be significant for this Jets club to do this, because when he actually does start scoring and when you get Nikolai Ehlers back, I mean, kind of watch out.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. We're still doing all this without Nikolai Ehlers, which is almost as amazing as the record itself. Because if you'd said that, you would have said, "Oh boy, this team is probably going to be screwed for a long while he's out of the lineup." Saku Maenalainen makes it 4-1 for the Jets. That's at the 18-14 mark of that dominant second period. His first goal as a member of the Winnipeg Jets. His first goal in years at the NHL level after having spent so much time in Finland. That's got to feel good for him. Assist to Neil Pionk and Josh Morrissey. And again, Morrissey with some fancy footwork, some fancy skating, to sort of, control the puck and then eventually give himself the room to find Neil Pionk. And Pionk has a good shot through the traffic, and Maenalainen gets his stick on it. And you can see it sort of bounces on Wedgwood, and no real opportunity for him to make a save. But good things happen when you have traffic in front, and good things happen when you put the puck towards the net. And again, not a pretty goal necessarily, although Morrissey's skating was pretty in this instance, but just simple things, good things, getting rewarded. 4-1 for the Jets after 40 minutes, and just a tremendous period for the hometown team. Really, where they just took control of the game and they affirmed themselves. That first period that they were so good in, with 8 high danger chances to 2 for the Stars. Well, guess what? Second period, 7 high danger chances to 3 for the Stars, and that results in a 4-1 lead after 40 minutes for the Winnipeg Jets.
Yeah, and the Jets got a little. They decided to get their shooting percentage a little bit tighter because they only took 10 shots to get those 4 goals. But look, Saku Maenalainen's had a good game. I mean, the Jets' depth was good. The Jets' depth was productive, and that's what you wanted to see from. That was the biggest. Again, I shouldn't say that was the biggest question marks. I've already listed off a couple of other question marks, but there were a number of question marks coming in when you're running it back with some slight modifications. And one of the things that you were wondering was, and again, and I know I'm the the driver of the Gus bus, although Weaver tries to pretend like he is, but let's be real. But David Gustafson, he's effective on the PK, but he's just
quietly effective.
And quietly effective throughout the course of the game. So he doesn't he does a lot of things that don't get they're not going to be mentioned on SportsCenter, but he's just a very efficient, quiet, and again, he's a relatively young guy especially in terms of NHL experience. So for him to be gaining the confidence of his teammates, of his coaching staff, I mean, that's significant for a guy like David Gustafson. So you like the way those bottom six. Okay, go ahead.
I was just going to say, Gustafson, you're speaking about him. He led all Jets forwards in Corsi for percentage at 5-on-5 in tonight's game at 61.
In how many minutes?
In 5-on-5, just over 10.5 minutes at 5-on-5.
Okay, so I mean, but my point is, and thank you for backing up my point, Drew. But the reality is that he is just doing what we thought he could do at the NHL level. And I mean, again, a lot of people were like, he's a bust. He only played 2 games. It's kind of like, I like my players who don't get injured. But the reality was he's healthy. He's effective. He's providing what we who watched him, with the Moose knew he would be capable of doing at the next level. If he can add some goal scoring to that, that's going to be a hell of a bonus for the Winnipeg Jets. But if he can just do what he's doing right now, which is bring an effectiveness to the penalty kill, if he can bring that quiet, level to the fourth line, this Jets club is going to need, they're going to need them, because you're not always going to get 3 points from Mason Appleton and a contribution from the second line. You need everybody to be able to be going. And so for a Jets club to have Gustafson, to have Menelainen, I mean, I hope my pronunciation was right. I was a little excited. I'm going to get some emails from Finland, but I think he gets rewarded because he's worked really hard throughout the course of the season to perform. And so, it wasn't a brilliant goal, but it was nice. I mean, he's in a dirty area. He tips home, and, Neil Pionk, credit on him, because he did a couple Pionki and spinoramas, and we weren't sure in the press box that was actually going to work, those plays. But you know what? Again, it ends up being effective, and you have a 3-1 lead. There's a little more latitude, right? So good for Neil Pionk and good for Zach Menelainen, who gives the Jets a 4-1 lead.
Right now, with this Winnipeg Jets team, it seems like everything they touch is turning to gold, which is a good feeling to have, because it's almost that snowball effect, and you can see it conversely when a team is struggling, like a team like the St. Louis Blues, who have just fallen off the wayside since the Jets beat them on that Monday night a couple weeks back. Calgary's struggling right now, and it seems like the game's so hard for the Jets right now, and every team will go through their ups and downs throughout the course of the year. For the Jets right now are in that one of those up modes where things are easy right now, and that's a credit to them. They deserve full marks for that. The third period, the Jets wrap up the scoring. Mason Appleton, his first of the year, his 3rd point on the night, so that's a nice feather in his cap. That's at the 17:02 mark, assist to Adam Lowry and Kyle Connor. It's into an empty net. But what's impressive to me about that more than anything is how effective the Jets were, with the exception of about maybe a couple minute lull there, where they maybe got a little bit sloppy and things maybe got a little bit messy in their own end. They were just simple, easy to handle that third period lead. It wasn't a tire fire, and that's the sort of the reputation of a Rick Bowness team, is that when they have the lead, they're pretty good at locking things down. And they certainly were tonight, having that 4-1 lead. Shots in the third period, 7-5. Dallas, had some chances. But again, Kyle, you don't have to apologize for having Connor Hellebuyck as your goalie. He wasn't, I'd say, extremely tested, but he certainly made the saves that he needed to make. Look, 22 shots on goal is all Dallas mustered. And, what did Chicago muster on Saturday? It wasn't many more. And Montreal on Thursday, it wasn't many more than that. This is a Jets team last year that gave up 22 shots in, half the game sometimes. So you can imagine how much easier it is for Connor Hellebuyck to, which is what we talked about in the preseason, play in front of a defense like this, play in front of a team like this that is controlling the play and that is, got this puck on their stick and forcing the play in the positive sense of the word, not scrambling around. And when they do have to scramble, and there's always times when you're going to have to scramble because it's not, it's not a perfect science, Hellebuck is up to the challenge as he was tonight, especially in that third period when the Jets really did a good job of shutting this game down.
Well, they didn't take chances. They didn't take needless chances to give Dallas any life. And so that's what you wanted to see from a Winnipeg Jets club that needed to show that they could play a complete game, a 60-minute game, lock things down, and really not allow Dallas to have any sort of moral victories. I mean, we often say like, well, what do you get out of that? Well, you could still feel good a little bit about yourself. You didn't have your best game. Hey, we clawed back. A little more time, we might have done something different. Well, the Jets didn't allow that to happen. The Jets locked it down, and you know what? They deserve full marks for that. So, you know what, Drew? It was just a very tidy effort from a Winnipeg Jets club that has put together a number of them now. Right now, there's becoming more of a theme, more of a pattern here within the Jets' muscle memory. Is that this isn't happenstance? This isn't happening, and then, I mean, how many times did we say last year? Well, could they continue this? And look, we said that against the St. Louis game, right? Mm-hmm. So they beat St. Louis 4-0, and everybody's like, well, that's the blueprint. If they can do that, that's the blueprint. Well, a couple of things about your little blueprint. First of all, the Jets weren't successful doing that, and then they, if it wasn't for Hellebuck, they don't get the points against LA and Vegas, and more importantly, St. Louis lost like 8 games in a row. So maybe St. Louis was not necessarily, even though they came into the game 3-0, that should be taken with a bit of a grain of salt, given how things have gone. Maybe the Jets broke them. Maybe the Jets were just so good that they broke the St. Louis Blues. Whatever it is.
You never know whatever it is. The Jets are 8-3-1 on their season, Dave. They are third in the Western Conference in terms of goals for, goals against differential. Vegas leading with plus 20. Dallas, who the Jets beat tonight, plus 15. And then the Jets coming in at plus 10. And goals for, goals against differential is a stat that a lot of people like to use to sort of see how good a team actually might be. And right now, this Winnipeg Jets team, at least through the first 12 games of the season, appear as though they are a pretty good hockey team as things currently stand. They'll now take a few days off, and they'll be back in action on Saturday against the Calgary Flames, a back-to-back situation. Saturday at Calgary, and then Sunday against the Seattle Kraken. But the Jets well-earned victory 5-1 over the Dallas Stars tonight in downtown Winnipeg. Nobody go anywhere. We got lots more to come on this evening's show. We got the unique code word of the day.
Frosty already guessed it.
Frosty already guessed it? Okay, I missed that. I got some hate mail, not Jets related, but it's really entertaining, and I think you folks will want to hear you'll want to hear me do a dramatic reading of the hate mail that I received. And we have...
I have a question. Did I send it to you?
You didn't send it to me as far as I know. I was able to... I love people when they send things. I found the guy immediately who sent it to me.
Oh, true.
It took one Google and the guy's name. I had the guy's name right in front of me, but it was fine. It was a very entertaining email. I'm not. Is it as good as the time?
Hey, Drew, is it as good as the time that the guy from Arizona got mad at me for saying something about the Coyotes and then told me he hoped I got run over by a bus? So then I responded back to that fellow and I said, so I kind of outlined what I was saying, and he wrote me back. He said, "You know what, Dave? I hope you don't get run over by a bus." I was like, "That's nice. I appreciate that." See, I make nice with the trolls. I don't get it. I'm a fighter, not a fighter.
I made nice with the guy too. I emailed him back. He never responded, but it has nothing to do with the Jets, but it's very entertaining. And I thought you good folks who are joining us at 10:30 on this Tuesday evening might get a kick out of what sometimes people might.
Keegan Paulie wants to know if he inadvertently left his return address on the mail.
It wasn't any of you, as far as I know. The guy obviously follows me on Twitter, or he did a hashtag search. But he's it has to do with my Vikings fandom, and he's a Packers fan. So I'm a Vikings fan.
I have a question. Was it Sarah Oleski?
It wasn't Sarah, but I was gonna, part of the reason when I send out my tweets about the Vikings, it has to do with Sarah being a Packers fan. But as far as I know, it wasn't Sarah, and I'm pretty sure Sarah would be nice enough to just tell me this to my face as opposed to sending it in an email. So, anyways, don't go anywhere.
Drew, before you send everybody, remember, there's a lot of people in the chat. Smash that like button, folks.
That's right. Smash that like button. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already done so. Subscribe to our Instagram page. Dave mentioned the great photos that our photographers take there. So if you haven't checked them out, be sure to check out our Instagram. It's @illegalcurve on Instagram as well. Much more to come. Unique code word of the evening. We have a birthday shout out we have to give. And of course, the hate mail I received. We'll do that after these commercial messages. Everyone go get it. Stretch your legs, get a drink, come on back. This is the Illegal Curve post-game show. Drew Mandel, Dave Manouk with you on this Tuesday evening.
Jerry Seinfeld, Chris Rock, Jon Stewart, Dennis Miller, Brad Garrett, the biggest acts and all the up-and-comers. They've all made their mark at Rumors Comedy Club, North America's longest-running independent comedy club. Rumors has kept Winnipeg laughing for over 25 years. When was the last time you laughed out loud? Make it a great night out with friends or book your office or birthday party, even a fundraising event at Rumors. Get all the details and dates on upcoming shows at rumorscomedyclub.com.
He winds up. Oh, looks like Ezzy took that one right in the choppers.
A blistering fast puck hurts like HE double hockey sticks. That's why I let the pros at Linden Market Dental Center turn my yow into
wow.
Get your brilliant smile back with state-of-the-art restorative and cosmetic dentistry from real pros.
And remember, always wear a mouth guard.
Now that's solid on ice advice. Learn more at lindenmarketdentalcenter.com. Creating smiles for life.
Whoa, Ezzy, everything okay? You look stressed.
Of course I'm stressed. We're moving, the house is upside down, the kids failed miserably at packing the fine china, and my life is in chaos. Chaos!
Yes, that does sound like a problem.
What am I going to do?
Ezzy, relax. Rolly's Transfer Moving and Storage is the answer. With 60 years of experience in moving Manitobans and a track record of exemplary customer service, one call to Rolly's and your stress is gone. No job is too big or too small. Just visit Rollies.com and they will take it from there.
Thanks, Dave, and thank you, Rolly's Transfer Moving and Storage, online at Rollies.com.
Dave, my man, why are you in the car already? It's hours until game time.
Drew, it's because I'm stressed out right now, driving around downtown Winnipeg, looking for a parking spot, and I'm not finding one. I've lost Ginsburg. I don't even know where that guy is right now.
Dave, haven't I taught you anything? Do what I do. Pre-book your entire month's worth of game day parking with the Grid Park app. It's super easy to use and saves me both time and stress.
Well, Drew, I'm not independently wealthy like you are. So I'm sorry that I don't have millions of dollars to pre-book my parking month in advance. What's that going to cost you? $25?
How about $5?
Come on, $5? No way.
$5. I'm not telling you a lie. And our listeners can get a free park with the new special promo code Illegal Curve. Guess what? There's more.
Come on, there's more, Drew. You're lying to me. What more could there be?
Grid Park now has underground parking, so my car can stay warm during the game.
So wait a second. All the driving around I do, looking for parking, minus 40. You're telling me I could be toasty warm in a car after the hockey game?
That's exactly what I'm telling you. Underground parking. Just download the Grid Park app. That's GRYD Park and use the code Illegal Curve. All one word. You'll park for free your first time.
Hi, it's Drew from Illegal Curve here. Selling your home can be stressful, but it wasn't for me. Thanks to my friends at Zappia Group Realty, they made the process so easy. My home sold within 48 hours and with multiple offers. Zappia Group Realty took care of everything with their exquisite customer service and attention to detail. If you want to sell your home for more in less time, get started by talking to Frank and Mauro Zappia of Zappia Group Realty. Online at zappiagroup.com.
For 3 generations and over 80 years, Tough Duck has been making apparel that works and plays as hard as the people who wear it. From jackets to work boots and everything in between, Tough Duck's clothing can handle the harshest environments, even the Illegal Curve hockey show. Work to live, live to play. Visit toughduck.com. Bottom of the hour, Tuesday evening. Welcome back to the Illegal Curve post-game show alongside Dave Manouk. I'm your host, Drew Mandel, here talking about the Winnipeg Jets' 5-1 victory over the Dallas Stars. With tonight's victory, the Jets move into first place in the Central Division. Our next broadcast will be Saturday morning, 9 a.m. back here with the Illegal Curve Hockey Show. We'll get you set for the weekend's games in Calgary against the Flames and again against the Kraken in Seattle. So it'll be a busy Illegal Curve-filled weekend. Saturday, 9 a.m. Post-game show right around 11:45 p.m. or so on Saturday night. So, of course, you can the Saturday night trickles into Sunday. You can spend it with us at Illegal Curve, and then we'll be back at it on Sunday evening after the Jets and the Kraken for that post-game show. I promised everybody a little bit of hate mail because everyone likes to hate on Drew every now and then. Oftentimes, it's my hockey takes. In this instance, it's not my hockey takes, it's my football takes. As everybody knows, or anybody who follows me on Twitter knows, I'm an avid fan of the Minnesota Vikings, which is pretty reasonable, I think. I don't know if you can see that, Dave. You can let me know if people can read that on the screen right now or not, if it's maybe too small.
Well, it looks good. It looks good, Drew. I was a little bit concerned. I'm like, this is very aggressive for you to think, Mister, your internet's not working. Now you're going second screen.
Yeah,
it's very aggressive, but sure.
I'm being a little mistaken. So, the Vikings, as everyone knows, who's a Vikings fan, the Vikings are having a great year. It's surprising. I mean, as a Vikings fan, I don't expect them to ever do anything well, but they're having a great year. The Packers of Green Bay, not having as great of a year. So I sent out this fairly innocuous tweet. I usually send out tweets like this largely to annoy Sarah being a Packers fan. So I like to send out tweets like this. I didn't tag her in this one. I thought the pain was obvious enough. I didn't need to rub it in to Sarah. So I said, ugly yet beautiful Vikings win, because many of the wins for the Vikings this year have been on the ugly side of things, but there have been wins nonetheless. Now to check in on Green Bay, Detroit, to see by how many points the Packers won by. Ha, 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 ha. As, of course, the Vikings the Packers did not beat the Detroit Lions on Sunday night. Look, Sunday afternoon. It's hard to beat the Detroit Lions. They're a juggernaut of a football team, as it happens. So then I got this.
Drew, this is supposed to be a family show. I mean, I'm reading that.
Yeah, folks, if there's any folks if there's any kids listening, you guys might want to put the kids to bed.
You might could have given me a warning. My eyes are scarred right now, even though I wrote it to you.
So even though you wrote it, so I sent out that tweet fairly, and I'm almost within 5 minutes. I got this email from somebody in Wisconsin, and again, I apologize for the language I'm about to use. Hey, fucktard, how many championships have the Liberals from Minnesota won? How many divisions? You fucking buttfucks haven't won shit. So don't go on Twitter acting like you have, because I, along with others, I've sent your shit to. Apparently he sent my shit to people, which I'm concerned about. We'll remind you when you assholes from Minnesota lose. And you assholes have forgotten that. Big fucking motherfucking mouth. So until you win the championship, shut the fuck up, clown.
Wow.
Talk about some aggression, right? Dave, I thought there was too many curse words in that email that you sent to me.
Sorry, Drew.
I just had to share it. I know it's off topic. I know it has nothing really to do with the Winnipeg Jets, but I thought I haven't received.
Well, there's a lot of Minnesota Vikings fans in Manitoba.
Tons of Minnesota Vikings fans in Manitoba. So the whole thing was thoroughly amusing. My favorite part is that he didn't bother to respond to my tweet. He actually bothered to send me an email. So he must have. I mean, my email address is on my profile, I'm pretty sure.
So that wasn't a DM. That wasn't a DM.
Oh,
that was just an email.
That was an email into my Illegal Curve inbox. Usually it's emails from you, or it's emails from Dave, or it's emails from advertisers who want to join our roster of advertisers. But yeah, Hickory. Yeah, anyways, we all got a nice chuckle about that email, and I thought I'd share it with our audience here on this Tuesday night. So thank you to that gentleman. I have his name. I know exactly where he lives. Again,
who cares?
No, I don't care. I responded to the guy and said, thank you for sending that email. I haven't laughed that hard in a while. Never heard back.
I don't know why he'd be so angry. Wisconsin is one of the most beautiful states.
Well, I mean,
especially this time of year. It's fantastic.
Clearly, he's more interested in what's going on with the Packers than the foliage at this time of year. He's missing out.
Black River Falls.
Yeah,
fantastic. I
love
stopped a couple times there.
Beautiful, beautiful place. This gentleman was a little upset with me, though. It happens.
Wisconsin Dells.
Yeah, I've been to Wisconsin.
Milwaukee.
Yeah, look, I've been to Milwaukee as well.
Eau Claire.
I don't think I've been to Eau Claire, but I've been to Milwaukee.
Everybody kind of drives by it as you're going back, coming back.
It. I understand, anyways, so I thought I'd share that little tale with all you good folks on this Tuesday night. But on a positive note, Dave, we have a unique code word that we have to release. So, of course, if you're new here and you don't know what the unique code word is all about, if you go down to the description on our YouTube channel, you click the down arrow and you go to the description, you'll see a link to our contest page. Click that link, and then you'll see an opportunity to enter a unique code word. You can only find that unique code word here on the Illegal Curve post-game show. You have to be tuning into the post-game show. You have to be watching the replay of the post-game show. You have to be listening to the podcast of the post-game show.
And downloading it, making comments.
That's right. We're going to release the unique code word. You enter that into the contest page. If you're saying, Drew, I can't find where this is, help me. You might have to X out of the chat and find it there. If you don't want to X out of the chat, I get that totally.
Wait, sorry, Drew. Tico Pauly made a good point. What happens if it is? Wait, where did his comment go?
Yeah, it might have been
Mason. It is Mason Appleton.
It could be. It could be Mason Appleton.
Actually, now that I think about it, Drew, you are first of all, Mason Appleton's originally from Green Bay.
Yeah.
So he's most likely a Packer. I think, in fact, he is a Packers fan. And I'm pretty sure you were advocating for him not to be on the first line anymore in our last show. So I don't know. I mean, I didn't have to ask him, but it's kind of coming back. It may, in fact, be Mason. Your hater might be Mason Appleton.
It's all adding up. Don't worry. I think the Minnesota wrecking crew that are on the Jets, all the guys from Minnesota will get my back in this instance. If it comes down to a Vikings versus Packers brawl, there's more.
I don't know what we're talking about anymore.
There's more guys from Minnesota than there are guys from Wisconsin on the Jets. Anyways, the unique code word. If you can't find it in the show description, if you can't find it on our YouTube channel, just go to our website, illegalcurve.com. Dave has it in all the different articles that he publishes throughout the course of the day. You'll see the link to the contest page. Click the link. There's a whole bunch of different things you can do in order to gain extra ballots and extra entries into the November suite of contests where you can win great Jets merchandise. The code word for tonight's post-game show. And again, Dave, I'm going to make fun of you for this one. The unique code word for today's IC contest is Alamo.
I was just thinking Texas, Drew. I wasn't thinking like specific to Dallas. Just thinking about Texas.
Again, so before the show started, when I asked Dave what the code word was, he said Alamo, and I immediately said, that's San Antonio. That's not Dallas.
I've never been to Texas. I have no idea. I've flown over Texas, but I've never been to Texas.
I've been to Texas. I said better options if you want to make it Dallas specific. My first one, which might be
don't cloud people's minds, Drew. They don't need to know what you're because then they might start entering it, and then it's gonna be wrong.
Okay, fair enough. You're right. So the unique code word for the IC contest for tonight's entry is Alamo. Alamo, and I'm not talking about the car rental company. Alamo is where you enter in. You get extra entries, extra ballots, extra opportunities to win in the Illegal Curve merchandise contest by entering the unique code word Alamo in our contest page.
By the way, as an aside, you guys, the chat is like 10 out of 10 tonight. It's been so good all season long, and so many of the comments. I mean, I was a little worried when Drew was glitching and I was looking like it was going to be the Dave Minuk experience. Not because I was worried, but I generally spend a lot of my time reading the chat. And I mean, of course, I would have to be focused on
Rob. Thank you, Rob. Dallas, so close to the Alamo, only about 10 hours away. Thank you, Rob.
I'm a guy who drive to Flin Flon, so I mean, 10 hours doesn't seem like it's that far for me. Just saying.
There you go. Fair enough. And then
I used to drive all the time, so I mean, driving's nothing. I mean, come on.
You can. I'm sure there's also relatively.
You can get to Wisconsin in 10 hours.
I'm not allowed in Wisconsin anymore. I fear for my life now after the email from the guy. But that's okay. I think I'll be okay. Dave, you got my back, right?
No, I kind of enjoyed the Dave Minuk experience. So I'm kind of hoping he takes you out, and then it's all me all the time.
There you go.
I can talk about the Moose. I can talk about the Ice. The Ice won again, by the way. Got to give them a shout out. 3-1.
The battle of basically the undefeateds.
Yeah, well, 15-1-0 Winnipeg Ice versus the 15-0-0 Red Deer Rebels. Red Deer came in here and looking for top spot in the Eastern Conference. Now, of course, I didn't watch the game. I'm not going to pretend like I did because I was at the Jets game and obviously watching it after the fact. But impressive, 11 games in a row that this team has now won, improving to 16-1-0-0, and of course that would jump them into first place in the Eastern Conference ahead of Red Deer. Rematch tomorrow night, but impressive what the Winnipeg Ice are doing. And as I tweeted out yesterday, of course, because the Moose won, earning themselves a split with the Texas Stars, kind of as a Texas weekend here in Manitoba. But it's very good hockey right now here. And I mean, obviously the football Bombers, we're not a Bomber show, but the Bombers are doing very well. And
Sunday, I'll be there on Sunday cheering them on in the West Final, and I'm sure some of the other people here will also be doing that.
Yes. So anyways, but the point is that the Moose are winning right now, the Ice are winning, and the Jets are winning. So all is well in the pro and junior ranks of the hockey teams here in Winnipeg.
Absolutely. And of course,
and the football team.
Somebody else doing some winning, the IC Merchandise Contest winner based on the random draw, Tim Gertson.
Yes, we're going up to Winkler, Manitoba. Tim is in Winkler. Yes.
There you go.
Which means Tim, unlike a number of the winners, who I will be dropping off, Frosty, you know what I'm talking about. Unlike some of the winners, Tim will be getting his in the mail.
That's right. Where Dave's unfortunately not going to make the trip out to Winkler unless you can sweeten that pot for him, Tim.
If you tell me, actually, if Tim tells me where I can find some elk, to shoot with a camera, then maybe I would drive out that way. But unless if he knows the good spots for Manitoba wildlife, well, I could be convinced. I would be willing to take a drive.
Dave is a wildlife photographer in his spare time. I don't know if you folks knew that, but Dave
I'm not Randy Johnson, former MLB pitcher, who's now a wildlife photographer / actual photographer in like pro sports.
Yeah.
But I take a picture or two.
That's good. You're a man of many talents there, Mr. Manuk, undoubtedly. Anyways, congratulations to Tim Gertson, the IC Merchandise Contest winner. We will be in touch with Tim, of course.
Tim's in the chat. Excellent. That's what I like to see, Tim. There we go. Good to see. Congratulations.
There you go. Congratulations.
Tim said there's some good pierogies out here. Well, Tim, careful. All I can tell you right now is Ezzy Ginsburg hears that. He doesn't even know what's going on right now. He can smell the pierogies. So he might convince me to go.
He heard the word about pierogies and he immediately got excited. That's what our Ezzy is good for. And of course, we in addition to congratulating Tim and the unique code word of Alamo, we got a special request from one of our longtime fans who watches this show on a regular basis, watches our Saturday show on a regular basis. Wanted to give a birthday shout out to her fiance, and we're nothing if not obliging our loyal audience. So happy birthday, Scott Holmes. Hope it's a great birthday. I believe it's coming up on Thursday. There's no Thursday, of course, till Saturday. But Johanna, and of course us here at Illegal Curve want to wish you, Scott Holmes, a happy birthday. I don't want to say the number on air, but it's Scott's birthday coming up on Thursday. So happy birthday. Hope it's a great one.
Do you know what Scott got for his birthday, Drew?
I don't know what he got for his birthday. What did he get, Dave M?
Well, he got a present from Illegal Curve because Scott coincidentally was one of the winners of the Illegal Curve contest, and I delivered him a Heritage Classic jersey last week.
Well, there you go. So you got to meet Dave M in person and get a Heritage Classic jersey. So
and now a shout out from Illegal Curve.
Now a shout out from Illegal Curve. I hope he's celebrating his birthday at, maybe with our friends at Rumors Restaurant and Comedy Club. They have a great birthday club promotion that if Scott, you're looking at a place to, ring in your birthday with some friends and family or whomever else, maybe it's just you and Johanna going out, check them out, rumorscomedyclub.com. One last thing before we wrap up, of course, the Tough Duck hardest in comments, some great comments in the chat throughout the whole entirety of the post-game show. I thought this one was a really good one from Arc Sign. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. He says, she says, I'm not really sure. They say, I thought the whole Bonus and Scheifele talking this summer was just nice Jets PR stuff to kind of do damage control on the trade rumors, but no, Rick Bonus legit re-inspired him. LOL. So I thought that is worthy of our Tough Duck hardest hitting comment for tonight's post-game show. So arc sign, whomever you are, send me an email, drew@illegalcurve.com. Slide into my DMs at ICDrew. Hopefully, just send us your mailing address, and our friends at Tough Duck will ship you out one of their fine and dandy toques. Congratulations on winning tonight's Tough Duck hardest hitting comment after the Jets' 5-1 victory over the Dallas Stars. Dave, have a good night all around. My internet obviously fixed itself. That's that's important as well. I'm happy that occurred. But
Drew, you cost me the opportunity to do an extended Manuk Moose minute. I was really looking forward to that. When did we last do a Manuk Moose minute? I mean, I'm not saying that we would do one right now or anything like that, heaven forbid. But I'm just saying that it's been a while, and it'd be nice to talk about the Manitoba Moose. I would have done that. I would have spent some serious time discussing their big victory on Sunday. Of course, not a lot to talk about because they won 2-1 in overtime. Alex Limoges. Oh wait, I guess I am doing it in Manuk Moose minute. I'll do a quick one right now. You don't have to hit the button, but maybe you should, and I'll just wait.
Put on your antlers. It's time for the Manuk Moose Minute on the Illegal Curve Hockey Show.
Oh, hey, how did that
happen? Just magic.
I have no idea. But anyways, just very quick. Moose were looking to rebound after a disappointing loss to Texas. I actually did color for that game. And let me tell you something. There's nothing worse than doing color on a game and it being a terrible game. And that's kind of what it was on Friday. So I was hoping for a bounce back effort so it would be a little more entertaining for folks. And Oskari Salminen, he's been excellent in net for Manitoba this season. He actually came on in relief of Arvid Holm in the second period of the game on Friday, and then he made all but one save, I think 33 saves on Sunday for the win in overtime. And like I said, Alex Limoges scored his first and second goals of the season for Manitoba. He's a nice addition. And so Brad Lambert, he's just started skating again on Friday. Some folks were asking about, Frosty's asking about Brad Lambert's status. So everybody's panicking. Oh, they're doing this to him. Guys, Brad Lambert was sick, and he's just started skating again on Friday. So I'm not terribly surprised because the Moose don't play the Calgary Wranglers for the first time ever on Friday. And then, although we have tickets for that. So if you want to go to the Moose game, by the way, there's another good thought. Send me an email. We've got 4 tickets, I think, for Friday's game. If not Friday's game, then probably Sunday's game. Anyways, Moose ended up winning in overtime. Alex Limoges, beautiful, really nice. You got to highlight the work by Mikey Esimont because he's relentless. Tenacious is the word I use, but relentless is also one that would work with Mikey Esimont. He did a lot of good work in overtime and got Alex Limoges that opportunity to be open, got him the puck, and then Limoges finished it off to win. And again, the Moose are feeling very good about themselves, sitting right now, I think, in second behind Milwaukee. Their old nemesis from last year, who they played 17 times, and Milwaukee, I think, has won like 6 in a row. So Milwaukee sits first, and Moose sits second in the Central. But hey, like I said, the pro and junior teams of Manitoba are flying.
They certainly are. Well done with that Manuk Moose Minute there, Mr. Dave. That'll wrap it up for us on this Tuesday night. We want to say a big thank you to all the sponsors of Illegal Curve who make the post-game show, the Saturday show, and the website a possibility. Our friends at Rumors Restaurant and Comedy Club, some great acts upcoming. Check out their website, rumorscomedyclub.com. Linden Market Dental Center, Zappia Group Realty, Betway, Tough Duck, Boston Pizza, Seagram's, Rolly's Transfer, Grid Park, and The Keg. Support these fine businesses because of their continued support of Illegal Curve Hockey. If you know of a company that should join the Illegal Curve roster of advertisers, send them our way. Send us an email, drew@illegalcurve.com, dave@illegalcurve.com. We'll get in touch with them accordingly. A big thanks to all of you for joining us in the always lively chat room, for better or worse in some cases, but it was a fair bit of fun. Thanks for bearing with me and my technical difficulties earlier on in tonight's program. Dave Manuk did a great job, as he always does, holding my hand as I was struggling. Always appreciate the help from Mr. Manuk. For Dave, I am your host, Drew Mindell. Until Saturday morning at 9 a.m., we wish you good night and good luck, and thanks for watching the Illegal Curve post-game show.